use force to make you do what the deciders have decided you must do. They use force to make you do what the deciders have decided you must do. They use force to make you do what the deciders have decided you must do.
And is that
Doesn't that make sense?
Well,
doesn't that make sense? I mean, if you were, if there were guns here, would you want to be the only person without one?
So do you carry guns routinely at home? I mean, you have a gun at home?
Yeah, it's legal in the United States. It's part of our Constitution. You know, the right to bear arms is because that's the last form of defense against tyranny. Not to hunt. It's to protect yourself from the police.
And do you see any link between that and these sorts of incidents?
No. Nah, not really. You know what I'm saying? If somebody wants to kill people, you know, they don't need a gun to do it.
Makes it easier, though, doesn't it?
Not really. You can use you can strap explosives on your body. They do that all the time.
So when there's the inevitable backlash of the anti-gun lobby as a result of this incident, as there always is.
Well, that's not going to change anything in the United States.
Anything.
No. The United States is based on guns. You know, like KRS says, you'll never have justice on stolen land. So it's not going to change.
Well, let me put it in official CNN Piers Morgan interview terms, shall I?
Yes.
My limey friend?
Yes.
Anybody that wants to disarm me can drop dead. Anybody that wants to make me unarmed and helpless, people that want to literally create the proven places where more innocents are killed, called gun-free zones, we're going to beat you. We're going to vote you out of office.
Not and you'd like everybody else to be.
Not true at all.
80 people.
Write this down. See, you're so rich.
You write this down. 80 people a day die in America from gunshots.
And 75 of them to 78 of them, statistics by the Uniform Crime Report by the FBI and the UN Study on Violent Crime, 78 of those 80 are let out of their cages by corrupt judges and prosecutors who know that recidivism is out of control, know that they'll commit the crimes again, and they let them walk through plea bargaining, early release, and programs.
They still
Kiss my ass. These shootings, if they were using a bird gun with buckshot, they could have killed more people per shot fired than with any AR-15. So this is a standard AR-15 that Eugene Stoner invented in the 1950s. It's a semi-automatic sporting rifle. It is not a weapon of war. No society would be so irresponsible to send heroes of the military into war with a semi-automatic weapon. It is not an assault rifle, and it is not a weapon of war. It is a standard American family modern sporting rifle that shoots one bullet per trigger pull. One trigger pull, one bullet. It shoots a .22 caliber bullet, and it's available everywhere because it's such an effective, wonderful home defense, hunting, competition, family weekends. You know, families in America, millions of them every weekend, shoot their guns. Problems in society is zero. Here goes a couple shots. Again, my sheriff buddy showed me his pen the other day, and that if he wanted to, it would be an assault pen, because I could assault you with it. So here's a standard sporting shotgun with double-aught buck that you can buy at any hardware store and any gun store, and you should, all around the world. And by the way, this range right here is about what the shooters had to deal with, because no one resisted. No one was trained how to fight back or how to deal with a shooter. So a shooter with a goose gun could have done this. Fire in the hole, you clear? Good. It's really a walloper.
Man, that sucker kicks.
It's really a lot of power. And I know.
A lot of people out there that sometimes get it in their mind to take what you have, or they're having a bad day and they want to inflict damage on you and they want to commit crimes. And they never go for the strong guy. They're never going to pick out the biggest guy in the bar. They're going to go ahead and look for weak people to vandalize and criminalize. And so, if you have a firearm, it's almost kind of like having nuclear power. You don't need a nuclear weapon because you have it. You know, no one's ever fired off a nuclear missile. Why? Because you don't want to suffer the consequences. And it's always shown that the states that have higher registered guns have lower crime rates. So it only makes sense. It's like, well, yeah, you know, here's an example. People break into schools all the time and shoot children, right? When was the last time someone broke into a police station and shoot it up?
Yeah.
No, people don't, that's why, if a cop goes into a bar, his meal's comped. Why? Because they know that, if we have police coming here all the time, people are not prone to rob places that you have people carrying guns walking around.
The thread of your argument is you're saying, there's a difference, isn't there, between, you're saying guns should be made freely available. Right?
No, there should be restrictions.
Let me put something to you. If you think it's wrong, tell me. They should be made available with some restrictions, but not many, from the gun lobby arguments I've read.
Which exists right now.
The reason is, if you made them illegal, they'd all be freely available anyway. But with drugs, you say, do not make them freely available, make them illegal, even though you know and I know that drives them underground and probably more people get access to them.
Pierce, I don't know why you guys either don't study the information or you just resist it. I think you're resisting it. In America, where you have more citizens with guns on their person, you have a dramatic reduction in violent crime. In those areas called gun-free zones, you have an outrageous increase in the loss of innocent lives.
Right. Now, and that's where I have a problem with it.
Were you born in England?
I was born in England.
Okay, are you familiar with Ireland?
I am.
Is Molotov cocktails and C4 explosive, those legal in Belfast?
They're terrorists.
Are those items legal in Belfast?
Well, I don't live in Belfast.
Well, then I'll go ahead and educate you. They're banned in Belfast. They're forbidden in Belfast. Do you think anybody had a hard time getting them? If you want something, how about in New York City? It take me 15 minutes for me to get a submachine gun in New York City from some paroled crack dealer.
Let me spin the argument. Would you allow drugs then to be freely available?
Not at all.
What's the difference in the argument?
Because drugs are 100% about reducing your level of responsibility, getting high, disconnecting. And I'm a cop. I've been a cop for 35 years. I conduct federal raids with the heroes of law enforcement in Texas.
He spoke about during this meetup.
Now, one of the reasons why the assault weapons ban makes sense, even though it accounts for a small percentage of the murders or those who die as a consequence of a weapon every year, is because police organizations overwhelmingly support it because they get outgunned.
Now, I can't speak for all the law enforcement out there in the world, but from my experience, I know LAPD officers, I know LAPD SWAT, I know Tennessee Highway Patrol, I know local law enforcement, I know Sheriff's Department, and not one single person that I know would support an assault weapons ban. Now, as far as being outgunned, that's simply not true. Law enforcement and military have access to stuff like submachine guns, select fire rifles, or assault rifles. An AR-15 is not an assault rifle. It's not a select fire machine gun. An M16 or M4
Marie
is.
From National Shooting Sports Foundation. The AR-15 rifle stands for Armalite rifle, after the company that developed it in the 1950s. AR-15 style rifles are not assault weapons or assault rifles.
So, former vice president is saying, basically, assault weapons are hardly ever used in violent crime, and we should be focusing on what people are actually using. Pistols with a lot of ammunition, and that is the truth. People do not use automatic weapons or assault weapons that often. But the media hypes it up as they use them all the time. We need to get them off the street.
You could use in different situations.
With regard to violent crime going down, I'm very proud it went down. It went proud in large part, the reason it went down is we put 100,000 cops on the street. But that didn't mean the cops were safer as a consequence of these guns. The cops were less safe the more assault weapons were on the street.
Now, looking at the stats at FBI.gov and the Department of Justice, which I'll put the links in the description below, the stats don't actually fluctuate that much. The only fluctuation in homicides is a total overall decline since the assault weapons ban has been lifted.
They don't account for even not only a bulk, they account for a small percentage of the gun crimes in America. More people out there get shot with a Glock that has cartridges that you can have magazines that can put 2, 10, 8, 12, 15, 30 shells in it than from any assault weapon you see. I'm much less concerned, quite frankly, about what you call an assault weapon than I. Kate, if you want to protect yourself, get a double-barrel shotgun.
Stop. You'll be completely fine.
Okay? Shells, a 12-gauge shotgun, and I promise you, as I told my wife, we live in an area that's wooded and somewhat secluded. I said, Jill, if there's ever a problem, just walk out on the balcony here, or walk out, put that double-barrel shotgun, and fire 2 blasts.
This is the flechette round. It's about 12 or 15 tiny steel darts in each shell, and like our friend's going to have a bad day.
Gun owners, they both respect the Second Amendment of the Constitution. They don't want to take away anybody's right to defend themselves with guns.
Well, they want to take away certain types of guns, obviously.
They want to take away assault weapons, which are capable with magazines like we saw at Aurora and Sandy Hook of unleashing a ridiculous amount of bullets.
Well, this is a question I wanted to ask you, Pierce, because I've seen you talk about assault weapons a lot, and I've seen Mark Kelly talk about assault weapons. The vast majority of murders in this country that are committed with guns are not committed with assault weapons, they're committed with handguns. Okay, so are you willing to ban handguns in this country across the country?
No, that's not what I'm asking.
Of murders in this country that are committed with guns are not committed with assault weapons.
Why the assault weapons ban makes sense, even though it accounts for a small percentage of the murders or those who die.
Why not?
Let me ask you.
Don't you care about the kids who are being killed in Chicago as much as the kids in Sandy Hook?
Yes, I do.
Then why don't you care about banning the handguns in Chicago?
We'll come to that. Let me ask, last 4 mass shootings in America were all the assault rifles.
And the vast
that is the reason, Mr. Shapiro. And you can smirk at me, and you can laugh at me.
I'm not smirking.
And you can accuse me of standing on the graves of dead children.
And being a bully, yes.
But that is the reason that people like me and Mark Kelly and Gabrielle Giffords want to have assault weapons like that removed from civilian hands.
Your passion on the issue doesn't really justify the rationale for why you want to ban assault weapons but not handguns.
You don't understand why we want to remove the preferred weapon of choice, these killing machines, from the hands of deranged young men.
All I'm asking is for you to be philosophically consistent. If what you're worried about is...
Murray from National Shooting Sports Foundation. The R15 rifle stands for Armalite rifle, after the company that developed it in the 1950s. R15 style rifles are not assault weapons or assault rifles.